When Thomas was sent to the works after his crash with Diane, Rosie returned to the Farquhar branchline. Thomas was going to be away at the works for a long time, longer than usual, but Rosie is one of the pilots at Vickerstown, and Diesel couldn't do all the work on his own. So due to the engine shortage, Sir Topham Hatt called Mr. Percival and asked him to lend Skarloey for a bit. The narrow gauge engines can't run on standard gauge track, so Skarloey needed to be placed in a special wagon to run on the standard gauge track. And once he was in, Skarloey set off to Vickerstown. Skarloey liked the change of pace, but some of the other engines found it strange that a narrow gauge engine was helping them. One engine was particularly vocal about it. And that engine was Gordon. "It's not right," said Gordon to Edward. "A narrow gauge engine shunting standard gauge trains. It's just... "What, Gordon?" quizzed Edward. "What is it just?" "It's just not proper. So undignified. I'd rather shunt my own coaches." "Would you really do it, Gordon? Would you?" "Well, no, but it'd be better than the alternative." Edward laughed as Gordon puffed out of the station. Whenever Gordon was at Vickerstown and Skarloey was shunting nearby, he would always have something to say. "Not proper at all. Absolutely ridiculous. I'd rather only diesel shunt trains. Actually, I take that back. That doesn't sound like a great idea." "I heard that," shouted Diesel. "A great idea, Gordon," said Skarloey, "would be shutting your mouth while I work. I know you don't like it, but you need to swallow your pride and be happy that you or Diesel isn't the one doing the work." "I heard that too." "Now, if you excuse me, Gordon, I have work to do." And Skarloey went off to the shunting yards. Gordon was speechless. A few days later, Gordon returned to Vickerstown to find Skarloey in front of a long rake of coaches. "Tenders and turntables," said Gordon. "Who's this train for?" "Me." "What?" Gordon was surprised. The engine that was supposed to take this broke down, so I volunteered to take it. We must look after the passengers. "I know," said Gordon, "but can you handle it?" "Yes, Gordon," said Skarloey. "I may be old and small, but I'll get those passengers home or bust." The conductor's whistle blew, and Skarloey puffed slowly out of the station. Once again, Gordon was speechless. A while later, Gordon was taking a large train of goods. He didn't want to at first, but he thought about what Skarloey would say. "It's an important job, so swallow your pride and do it without fuss." Gordon soon reached his hill. As he began to climb, he saw a familiar-looking rake of coaches right in front of him. Gordon stopped alongside a worn-out Skarloey. "What happened?" he asked. "I couldn't pull the train up the hill," wheezed Skarloey. "Just too old and small." "Don't say that," said Gordon. "You're more proper and hard-working than any other engine I've ever met. I'll help you get up this hill. You don't want to keep the train waiting, and we must look after the passengers after all." Skarloey chuckled. "I can't believe I'm getting help from you," he said. "But I guess I'll have to swallow my pride." "You taught me how to do it," said Gordon. "Now let's get to work." Gordon soon buffered up behind Skarloey, and then the strange train set off. At last, the two engines reached the final station right on time. Sir Topham Hatt was very impressed. "A fine piece of work," he said. "I'm very proud of both of you. Skarloey, your work here has been great. You'll be heading home tomorrow, but because of what you did, you are now an honorary member of our railway." Gordon whistled with delight, and he and his new friend were very proud. Skarloey left for home the next morning, and he was most certainly missed. Even Diesel was sad, though he didn't want to admit it. Diesel was expecting Rosie to return later that day. However, Rosie didn't return and stayed on Thomas's branch line. Why? Well, it's a long story, and it's one that will have to wait for another day.